For the letting of it, for the holding on, for the rose, for the place, for the clarity, for you ever love the rose, for the watch it slowly blue, for the perfect petals, for the unfold, for the growing drawn to the perfume, for the ever seen it dance. The leaves all wet with the dew quivering with the new romance, the wind with the loving of it too, for the ever long, for the nights, for the going on, for not its face to be the blur, for the memory to keeping it on too long, for these to be a rose and bled against those thorns with the spring of every night between and letting it go, for the love, for the evermore, for the dawning. As an insomniac's dream, missed you today for the between the you, the keeping the waking and the sleeping. I thought of you. Wet, we met inside of an insomniac's dream for the world, for the precarious, for the crumbling of the giving of time, for the floating of the slightest touch. And I wish I could have had a day with you for the where of the sun, for the past of the moon, the night where the stars would go with, for the forming of the constellations where the sky was filled with the blowing of the weeds and the how I love you. And once I told for the bending of time, for there's a space to be for the side, but I could never want that moment. How you said. How long I asked, but it was already how long before the answer could leave the lips. It was the waiting. I try to think of a word that's closest to the love. That only thing that connects to my mind is that name. But I tried to imagine what it would be if pass it across again to keep it drawing a blank. I've forgiven what it was like to feed the sun in my skin without worrying that it could help harm me at the same time, but I can stop throwing myself from the cliff with the arms of the air for the writing and the splashing of below. Every day looking into the mirror, I see more and more of my mother's face glaring back at me. Every day I measure the weight of my past against the present. I feel like the drag of what could have been. Find a photograph of you, wondering whether I'll stop hoping. Stare at the clock and whatever slow, methodical hands with us this dread for the day from now know it's too late. Patience and the love and agreeing to meet the set time for the place and beneath that. The 23rd tree for the love and an olive for the orchard for the patience arriving at the promptly enough for the waiting for the checking of the watching every often hour for the still for there's no sign of that love. Or was it the 23rd tree or the 56th and not to wonder whether or not you can decide to check it with in case for the making the way over through the 53 group. Arrived at that patience with you noticeably absent love is waiting for before they deciding whether or not it must be to have the wrong. Perhaps that's another where it's supposed to be. Meanwhile, the patience has arrived and the love is still nowhere to be seen. For this to begin to be aimlessly around the orchard tree for the almost meeting will never do. Come to finally finding the light, the meaning of the patience of whatever is lost in this feeling quite decided. Found for the step beneath the same where the beginning. The tree stood there barely for the minute for there was a moment. Tap with the shoulder, it was love. Where are you? Ask. I've been searching for you all my life and stop looking. For the replied, I will find you. The precarious for the crumbling of the giving of time, for the folding of the slightest touch, and I wish I could have had a day with you for the where of the sun, for the past of the moon, the night where the stars would go with, for the forming of the constellations where the sky was filled with the blowing of the weeds, and how I love you. And once I told for the bending of time, for there's a space to be from the side, but I could never want that moment. How you said, how long I asked, but it was already how long before the answer. There is that force, a dose or two for the recognition for you to be joined together. You being the single part of the root system connected for the strength and intimacy, for the fourth and strife from 10. For the tough, for the breeding, for the beautiful, for the only, for the naturalness in the world, for the you. Be the in and outs. A few pieces of you for the few of a tree, for the surface of the understanding of the heart, for the broken. It's for you to be keeping yourself alive. They will insult you, hurt you, defeat you, betray, injure, set you aflame and watch you burn, but they will not destroy you. You are the phoenix and how you rise and resurrect. There's thousands of versions of you shed between a thousand skins to become the person you are today, and if you ever feel overwhelmed by the many people that you were once, remember to pound the bone to grow, for that makes them have never had change. That trauma to steal your voice for the people getting so tired of asking you what's wrong, for you run out of nothing to tell them. You tried and tried and tried to tell them the words that you could turn ashes every time, but they tried to leave your mouth. But the start is fire for the pits of your stomach, for the becoming of the put for smoke. You are not you anymore, and you do not know how to fix this. And the worst part is that you don't even know how to try. And those sorries are someone for you love you badly, for they have made you feel like you take up the more space than you deserve. I am sorry they abandoned you when you needed them most, and it has made you believe that the love is an awful thing that hurts. And when they ask you why you love the rain, the ocean, the river, tell them it's because unlike the people that you should have ever loved and you better, the water was never afraid to touch you, even when you were at your most damaged and broken. The people that you consider weak have not yet noticed the wolf hiding behind your eyes, nor the flames inside your soul. Let them think that you are weak and what wolves and fire do best. Surprise them when they least expect it. And when you meet them, you'll realize that sometimes they make people have tornadoes instead of souls. The monsters were never under the bed because the monsters were inside of the head, and I fear no monsters, for no monsters I see, because all this time the monsters been me. You are in love with someone that feels like the warmth of the soul, but the cold for the January morning, with the soothing of the heart feels like the waters of the sea, but the hottest of June. And it's almost those feelings, and sometimes you're going to miss the person who wasn't almost to you, but the feeling, but the sad because it has no for that feeling, for the feeling it is that makes you tired for the fairy bones. You feel inside for how to stay to feel the healing for the very first time, for the admitting of the you being unhappy, for you had to be understanding of the place that you can let go. For the moment that you breathe inside that deeply, for the really been the healing in it to begin. You are almost within the feelings. It's sort of like the wallflower for the shrieking into the corner, for the pressing into the wall, for little do they know how present they are at all. The written rule book for the telling yourself and how to be right, for the things you talk about for everyone but me. Slowly on the withering for the flower, the pride, the sun, for the longing to be to who's whomever or someone. That would be yet like a dead butterfly. Sometimes think about the fragility of the glass with the broken shears. Tears tearing for the soft skin, for the winter's truth is transparency, the killing you, but the pain is seemingly using something you never can quite touch, for the watching yourself helpless even the day. Friend becoming your wife, for the we have to be the mother for your children, for the realizing the irony of thinking yourself, for the one under glass and the fact that it's been me. A pain butterfly for the static unvolving, unmoving, watching while your other life unfolds. These are the three questions: what it was like to love. You asked the gratitude, it was like being exhausted, for the iron answer brought to life for the flash of brilliance, and what it was like to be loved in return, for the asking of joy, for it was like being seen, for the perpetual darkness, and I replied for the hearing of a lifetime of silence. And it was like losing her, for the sorrow that was never long, for the pause of responding, and it was like the hearing of every goodbye to say that it was me. It was all once. Like that rose for the concrete, you ever loved a rose and ever watched it slowly bloom, for the petals would unfold, for the grow drunk of the perfume, but ever seen it dance. Her leaves are all wet with the dew, for the quivering of the new romance, the wind her left her too. And I never longed for her, for the nights they go on and on, for that the face of a blur, for the memory to keep too long, for ever had a rose with the bled against the thorn, for the swearing of each night, for the let it
live where you fear to live. Destroy the reputation, be notorious, for I have tried to true prudent. We've been planning in long ways enough, and now I be mad. Your task is not to seek it, but for the merely seeking to find all the barriers within yourself that have built against it. Sell your cleverness and buy the bewilderment, for the cleverness is more, for the penalty, for the bewilderment brings intuitive knowledge, for very little rose in the jagged rock to be grounded, be crumbling. So wildflowers will come up where you are, for the lion is most handsome with looking for food. All you can do is crawl, start crawling, then let yourself be silent for drawing, for the stronger, pulling up what you really love, for the raising of words, not voices, the rain, what's to be seen that hasn't been shown before. Let your mouth trust it, that it will be the idol of yourself, or maybe the searching among the branches for what it appears is the new roots, but then you sing the birds, the same for the mouth, the word, and the ears of what you think for the whole universe is contained. All the things seem to be. The spirit is so near that you can see it, but reach for it, but don't be a jar, for the full of water, for whose rim is always dry, but don't be the river who gallops upon the night, but never seen the horse that is eaten. Take someone who kids and score for not looking to be rich or poor, for afraid of losing. Who has not that slightest interest in even his own personality? He's free. These pains you feel like messengers into them. Maybe the world push you to hear the needs for the perfect position to pray. Be full of sorrow that you may become the hill of joy, that you may break into life and stop acting so small. You are the universe in a static motion wherever you are. Wherever you are, whatever you do, be in love. There is a voice that doesn't word. And listen listens. The silence bears eloquence and stop moving to the see the pattern improving. I am not the hair for the skin, for the soul that lives within, for the closing with the eyes and fall in love and stay there. Love is the bridge between you and everything. Carry inside is the one who just seek outside. The heart is yours, knows the one in that direction. Let the beauty what we love be what we do. For these are the hundreds of ways to live. The kiss the ground for running with what's comfortable. Forget the safety, live where you fear to live. Destroy the reputation of notorious, but I've had the true prudent. Been planning a long ways enough, and now I be mad. Your task is not to seek it, but for the merely seeking to find all the errors within yourself that have built against it. Sell your cleverness and buy the bewilderment. For the cleverness is more, for the penalty for the bewilderment brings intuitive knowledge for very little rules in the dragon rock to the ground. Hungry, so wildflowers will come up where you are. For the lion is most handsome and looking for food. All you do is crawl, start crawling, then let yourself be silent for drawing from the stone. Putting over the good love for the grace of the words, not faces. The way what's to be seen that has been shown before. That has been shown before. Let your mouth trust it, that it will be the idol of yourself, and maybe the search among the branches for what it appears. It's in the roots within the sing the birds, the sing but not to worry who it hears or what they think, for the whole universe is contained. You are with that single human being. The spirit is so near that you can see it, but reach for it, but don't be a jar for the full of water for whose rim is always dry. But don't be the river who gallops upon the night, but never seen the horse that beneath him. Take someone who keeps the score for not looking to be richer or for afraid of losing. Who has not that slightest interest in even his own personality? He's free. These pains you feel are messengers into them. Maybe the world pushed you to hear the needs for that perfect position to pray. Be full of sorrow that you may become the hill of joy. Weak that you may break into laughter, but stop acting so small. You are the universe in static motion wherever you are. Wherever you are, whatever you do, be in love. There is a voice that doesn't word. It listens. The silence there is eloquence to stop weaving so you can see the pattern improve. And I am not the hair for the skin, for the soul that lives within, for the closing of the eyes and fall in love and stay there. Love is the bridge between you and everything. You carry inside of us the one to seek outside. The heart is yours, knows the one in that direction. Let the beauty what we love be what we do. For these are the hundreds of ways to live. The kiss of the ground for running with what's comfortable. Forget the safety, live where you fear to live. Destroy the reputation, be notorious. But I've had the true prudent. We've been planning in long ways enough, and now I be mad. Your task is not to seek it, but for the merely seeking to find all the errors within yourself that have built against it. Sell your cleverness and buy the bewilderment. For the cleverness is more, for the penalty for the bewilderment brings intuitive knowledge for very little rules in the jagged rock to be grounded.
Within 3-foot soldiers getting off and down, harassing little at a time. The secret sound of social media into the woods, and they have suggestions in their opinions and to be brave, like when you have a star spangled banner with a victim card, and there's an occupation inside a close to mind. It seems as if a galactic. There's a walking in the house, and they rejoice within it. For the woman should be in heaven and the earth, for the creators have been deprived of it, playing like a vulture, technically. unknowing with the conscience, into forever. Recently, carried on like a mission for the journey that's not complete. Only for the ears that work and the hearts that become felt. Practice for the cases you haven't addressed with the jurisdiction that is only care. For what you say and do for the impossible relies upon. The cosmos running, the world comes to me. Roots of a tree like a demon of a host of a beautiful brother that I can find desert nights and deserted with the roaming of myself with the woman of the tomb, and one by one will call for the man in the sky to emptiness. And I consider the line, the place, the peace and the rise, whether or not you Father and Neptune will push far away for the old comfort. Don't run. Don't seek. Fiestas with the books and the limited fire. Clear the chakra, maybe what you believed. The truth lies in the middle of the negatives, the reveals. The common place where none can see but the classical tastes. The genuine is the palate would allow you to perceive with the five senses, but inside of the shower to wash away the pain. Melancholy is jazz, but who can stand the rain? It's maybe the same story, you've heard it before. Maybe it was numbers. Like a heavy sheep, exotic and sporadic, finding a wolf and you can get bitten. Reaching him through all arms with heavy sleep. Dramatic as it can be. Your own experience, your lessons.